Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Stratford Life with Joe Draper
and Edward Lowe. We've had another busy couple of weeks. We've been here, there and everywhere, talking to different businesses, covering lots of features in your area and giving you some tidbits of different things going on.
Yeah, loads going on. I'm in one of these funny moods actually at the moment. I think it's sleep deprivation. Both the kids are being ill, so I'm just all...
Sounds ominous for this show, guys.
I know, you should have seen her off camera. She's been so nervous, just no idea what I'm going to be doing. And just to top it all off, just before we came on, Jack goes, what did he say to me? He said, this time just suck it in a little bit. Just suck it in.
Yeah, he did. That was aimed at you. Yeah. No, it was actually aimed at both of us. Jack's in trouble.
Yeah, I know. And he keeps on getting these sneaky photos of us, doesn't he? He's like a little sniper that peers. So
but we've decided, but we can play at that game as well.
Yeah, we're going to get him somewhere. I keep on saying.
Apparently he doesn't mind.
Yeah. What was the story he told us?
To be continued.
I think 18-year-old, he was proud of being naked in front of everyone on the theatre stage. Throwing himself
at the Royal
on a woman.
Opera House.
I know,
no less.
I know, who knows? So there we go, we've got to suck it in. So I'll try and suck it in.
Focus.
Indeed. So this week, Joe goes to see Jane from Orange Mabel.
Had a great time with Jane. She's got a lovely cafe in Ulster, which you may have already been to, but there are lots of different strands to the business which you might not be aware of if you just popped in for a nice little treat one day. So you'll get to learn a lot more about her there. Ed will also be talking in his stat chat about the way property works as an investment and how it's performing against other investments. So stay tuned for that. You'll also get a buy-to-let deal.
Indeed. And we've got an amazing home styling tip this week. It's a little bit of luxury and we go into a basement. So yeah, we're going underground.
Ah, okay.
So keep tuned for that bit.
Yeah, it's great. It's I would say it's a little bit Alice in Wonderland. It's a little bit...
James Bond.
James Bond, well, that's because you're a boy and I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's genderise the whole...
There you go then, yeah.
It's also a little bit, how would I say, it's died and gone to heaven, isn't it, really? It's going to be on a lot of people's wish lists.
Yeah. We're following the alcohol theme from last week, from the
we are.
episode 2 from Purity.
Yeah, so you might be able to already guess what it is.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to guess what it looks like, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Hi Jane, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for taking part in our show today. It's great for you to take some time out and have a chat and tell us about the business here.
You're very welcome and welcome to Orange Mabel, and thanks for visiting Ulster on this beautiful sunny day. I think we've picked the right time.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's worked out well for us.
Beautiful, beautiful.
If you could tell us a little bit about what it is that you really love about Ulster, what is it that really ticks the boxes for you?
I guess it's the friendliness and the community. I've only been Ulster for 20 years, so
sure.
I'm guessing I'm still classed as a bit of a newbie. But we walk down the high street and you know everyone. People stop, they talk to you. It's very friendly. It's very community focused, and you feel very safe here. It's a great community, really is.
Absolutely, and that very much is about the people that make up the place, and it's the people that create that atmosphere and create that kind of vibe, really. What is it about the people that you really, really love?
I think the way they get involved and they'll just go for it. So anything that happens in Ulster, and there's plenty happening all of the time, be it a food festival, be it an art week, whatever it is, be it a parade, the brownies, the guides, you'll always find the community are involved and they're behind it. It's just so supportive. And as a reasonably new business to the high street, 6 years.
Yeah, still a good time.
It is, yeah. We had great support and we really, really, love the way the locals have got behind us and supported us right from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say you have a mixture of people that are really local to Ulster that come in, or would you say you have people that sort of really see it as a treat and see it as a bit of a destination to come and visit and sample some of the lovely products?
Yeah, well, coming to Orange Mabel is always a treat, and that's our main focus to make sure that people feel it's a treat. but we get some good local support. We've got our wonderful regulars, all quirky in characters, but we're also a destination business as well. I mean, we literally have people from all over the country following the vintage theme, following the Instagram walls and the stuff that we do. So it's a great mixture of both. We find the demographics during the week is very much local.
Sure.
And at the weekends we get a whole new vibe going on, and we have lots of people travelling to see us. So it's a really nice mixture.
Because it's very unique in terms of its presentation, isn't it? I mean, just walking through the cafe today, it's almost, you don't know where to look first, because it's like a feast for all of the senses, not just for our stomachs maybe with the delicious cakes. But there is so much going on, and I believe that you do sort of outside events as well.
We do a lot of outside events. We do festivals. We've got an old VW camper van, a retro
Great.
van, and guess what? She's called a Mabel, and she's orange. So she travels with us. So we go to Hampton Court as well as Ragley. So we do the long distance and we do the short distance stuff. We do a lot of marquee weddings because our brand really fits with the marquee weddings.
Absolutely, yeah.
We take all the vintage stuff with us, the teapots, the crockery, the high teas. So that works really well.
So then that's a whole package in itself, isn't it? So
oh, it is,
it's
yes.
not just sort of the food and beverage, which some companies will look after, but it's literally all of the visuals.
We take everything from the chairs, the tables, the table covering, everything, all the staff will literally rock up and we'll do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the weddings are a big part of our business, as are the hen parties. So we do
Sure.
prior to that, and we do the vintage makeovers. We do the girls. We do the vintage rolls for their hair. We do the cocktail parties. We've even done a waiter in the buff as well. So if anyone's interested,
There'll be a list for that.
yeah. But so they're really good fun, and it keeps our business interesting and varied.
Yeah, it must be a lot of fun.
It is. It's great. It's great,
Yeah.
and obviously it's as much fun as the people. And we find our clients, our guests, are always up for whatever they suggest or we suggest.
So it's very much a bespoke package. So you've got elements that you can sort of borrow and shift along, but you can make it match to everybody's requirements.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many guests they've got. How many guests would you cater for?
We will go up to 200.
Okay.
Yeah, we have gone up to 200, but that's kind of our max, because then we start running out of tables and chairs and that type of thing.
Yeah,
But the great thing about Orange Mabel is its appeal, literally from children to grannies.
Right up.
Everyone loves a tea party, and everyone loves the vintage. They love the nostalgia of the cups and saucers. They love the teapots.
And it's almost like the objects tell a story, because people will recognise certain patterns and certain shapes and think, oh, I had one of those. And it's nice to
Definitely.
sort of revisit and retrace those steps, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly that, Jo. I mean, it's amazing the amount of people that will come and say, oh, my grandma had this, and oh, I remember, and oh my gosh, I remember these spoons, they're the apostles. Everyone's got some little link, some memory to all of the stuff that we have, and it's wonderful. It's just such a nice business to be in, to make people happy and please people is a genuine reward.
Absolutely.
It is lovely.
Absolutely. So, I mean, essentially what we would say is whether you're thinking that you actually just want to have a snack, maybe some breakfast, or you want to have a full-on indulgent treat, whether that's here in the cafe or in the garden, or whether you're planning an event, just get in touch, come and visit Orange Mabel, have a chat with Jane, and she'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much for your time today, Jane. It's really been a pleasure.
You're very welcome, Jo, and thank you for visiting us at Orange Mabel.
Thank you.
Hopefully you found that interview useful. I certainly do. I think for me, actually, it just goes to show these little businesses that you sometimes walk past them or drive past them and you'd have no understanding of what they do on a bigger scale. And so a great example of that was when Jane was talking about the weddings, the marquee weddings where she can cater up for 200 people.
You wouldn't imagine, would you? Because
No.
you see a beautiful shop front, the cafe is sort of alive with colour, you know, it's very visual, but you would think, you know, that's the entirety of the business. So there are so many different strands, and, you know, she works in a very bespoke manner. So I also think, you know, if you get in touch, there will be different things that she could possibly facilitate for you that maybe, you know, we haven't even spoke about so far.
Absolutely. I think the possibilities probably there, particularly are endless, aren't they, really? So, yeah, definitely get in touch. Great business, lovely lady. So, yeah, have a chat.
Don't forget, we do also have a competition as well. So the competition is to win a afternoon tea for two with Prosecco. The competition is, the answers are in the interview. So what is the name of the camper van?
Yes.
So I hope you're paying attention. You need to like, share and comment on Stratford Live TV, and in the comments put the answer to the question. But you do need to cover all aspects to be in a chance to win your voucher.
I did say this was going to be one of those episodes this week. You held it together really well there, because I was thinking, where you go with that. So yes, all good. And Jack's now trying to hold something for this. So now, okay, we have to have somebody to direct us, because we really don't know what we're doing. So
it's time for Ed Stat Chat.
Yeah, there you go. In this episode of Stat Chat, I am going to be looking at how buy-to-let property has compared against the other investments out there over the last decade. So let's jump in and take a look. Well, where to invest? I think it's always that classic question, isn't it? What do you do with your hard-earned cash? The most important thing really in this is just do your homework, speak to lots of experts, get all the rounded advice before you jump into anything. Because obviously with investments become risks, there are the rewards, but you've got to take the risks, and it depends how your appetite to risk sits. So obviously the classic thing is the lower the risk, normally the lower the reward. The higher the risk often is associated with better rewards. However, nothing is guaranteed, and of course if you do go high risk, then of course you have got the chance of losing everything, particularly in something like the stock market. So all those things need to be considered. I think the classic thing as well is all goes down to time frame. So you do get these quick win short-term investments, but often they're very volatile, and really I'm not sure how consistent they really are. You're better off taking a slightly broader view on the time scale, and that would just secure the investment a bit better. So where could you invest? You've got building society, stock market, we've got gold, cue the music, and we've got property. So these are the four sort of cornerstones, I believe, of where you can go. So let's delve in a bit more detail. So let's see how they did it over the last 10 years. So let's wind time back, assuming I'm a lot less grey than it would be now, back to 2009. So we bought a semi-detached house for 245,800. Yes, I know it's a random number, but just bear with me on this. So assuming we bought it for that price, but then we put that same money into the other investments, let's see how they performed against each other. So as you can see, let's just jump straight to the bottom line basically. If you've got the capital plus the interest plus the rent, for example, in the property, you can quite clearly see, that's the one we want you to look at, that over eggs all of them by quite some margin, the closest being the stock market, the worst being the building society, which is probably no great surprise because, as I said at the beginning, that risk versus reward probably fits into that category. So let's look into in more detail. So if you had put it in the stock market, it would have given you a 30.2% return on your capital over the last 10 years, which works out at 3.79% a year in dividends. So that gives you an overall increase from your original investment of 74%. Gold, you can't earn interest on gold, but the value of it has increased, so 26.9% over the same 10 years. The building society, well, the capital hasn't really increased in value, but obviously you would have earned interest on that. So you've got 24.46%, so that's equivalent of 2.21% a year. Lots of stats, bear with me. So how does the property compare? Well, let's drill into the detail now. So the capital increase was 39%, which gives you a 3.35% increase per annum. Then you've got the income, i.e. the rent, which has provided a return, and that's based on the original asking price. So that's a staggering 91.29%, or the annual equivalent of 6.7% per annum. So the overall return on an annual basis over that decade is 10.05% per year. So leaps and bounds ahead of the other ones, as you can see from this beautiful graphic that I slaved over. So quite clearly you can see this orange column is the one you want to look at, because that is the end number at the end of the 10 years. And you say 470, 200 versus the nearest one, which is the stock market of 427. But what I would say, probably just to further this, is of course that the stock market is clearly very volatile, and there is a chance that you can lose everything. So if you look at Carillion not too long ago, obviously that's gone, whereas bricks and mortar does always exist. So irrespective of what the housing market itself is doing, it is always an asset that will always sit there. So that is another thing to bear in mind. So not only are you getting a better return, but you're getting a far more secure return as well. So undoubtedly the buy-to-let sector has been hit. 11 Downing Street have done their best basically to put all these sort of tax blocks in place. So, you've got the stamp duty, you've got the decrease in the high rate tax relief, you've got increase in capital gains tax on properties. But the facts really do still remain quite clearly when you look at this. So bricks and mortar is still one of the most consistent investments around there. And I think that as Brits, probably more so than if you look into Europe, where Germany is more of a rental market. Here we do still see property as the mainstay of investments, really. And I think at the end of the day, people are always wanting to try and buy homes. So, you're always going to need people who are waiting. They're saving it. You're the first-time buyers. They're trying to save desperately to get onto the housing market. In that time, they need somewhere as well. We're still not building enough homes. I know this is a contentious point, which it's far too long to discuss it in this section of the show, but the truth still does remain. So I think it's fair to say that if you're looking forward in time, in the next 10 to 15 years, is it going to change the demand of that? It's not really. I think probably if anything, it's going to get stronger. So there's always going to be a need for really good quality landlords who look after their houses properly. And that's a wrap, as they say. I hope you found that interesting. It gives you all of the data. So quite clearly the conclusion of that is invest in property.
Great stat chat. I think it's really important that we've got a lot of background there, so that if you're thinking that maybe, your thoughts are that property is going to be the steadiest investment in Britain, and it has remained so over, a pretty long period of time, then to have the figures to back it up sort of really reinforces people's opinions and thoughts, and to sort of move forward with things.
Yeah, it builds the confidence, doesn't it? And more importantly, it's better than gold. Da, 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 da. So I think what's quite useful now, we're going to go to the buy-to-let deal. But just on that note, reviewing those stats as I did over the 10 years, it just goes to show that property probably is always going to be the mainstay of British investment. I think it's just such a secure investment you've got. It will always exist, unlike a share, which obviously could disappear. So it is well worth considering it, which brings us nicely onto the next bit, which is our buy-to-let deal of the week. Warwickshire landlords. I am out and about again, hunting down the very best deals around your area. And today I'm in the pretty village of Bidford, and behind me is a property on Crompton Avenue. So what is it? Well, it's a 3 double-bedroomed terrace property. These are well built, these properties. They're always solid and they come with good plots. So a bit more detail about it. You've got a hall, living room, kitchen, dining room, which is around about 18 foot, so a good size there. Some outbuildings as well, which you could convert. And as I said, upstairs already, you've got the 3 double bedrooms, family bathroom and garden. Now the property does require a little bit of TLC. The kitchen probably could do with a bit of a change, as could the bathroom as well. But don't let that put you off, because I still believe this is a very good buy-to-let deal. It is currently on the market for 175,000. If you could get it for a region 170 and then spend the saving back towards the kitchens and bathrooms, you should be able to rent this property out for a region of £800 per calendar month. If you do that, then you should be able to get a rental yield of around about 5.48%, which is an excellent yield. Now, alongside that, I also believe this actually gives you perhaps a good opportunity to gain some capital appreciation on this property, because in September last year, the next door property sold for 218,000. And that was okay inside. It was much nicer than this one, but it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So alongside your rental yield here, I think there is an opportunity to really grow the capital appreciation on this property. And that is why this is my buy-to-let deal of the week. The other reasons why I like it, it's very close to the town centre. You can walk to the school here. And overall, I just think it's a really nice, quiet little spot. So I would very much recommend you contact the agent, which is Sanders & Sanders in Ulster. Give the guys a call there, arrange to have a look and see what you think.
So next we've got Ed and Jack, our cameraman, going out to see the home styling tip for this episode. It's a great one.
It is, it's fabulous. I think it's very James Bond.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, well, agree to disagree. Judge for yourselves. In the last episode, we showed you how you can revamp your kitchen on a shoestring. This week, we've got a luxury home styling tip. If you haven't seen one of these before, this is a spiral wine cellar. So let's get underground and take a closer look. What's great about this space is the sheer capacity of how many bottles you can fit in here. So 1,600, yes, that's right, 1,600 bottles you can get in it. So whatever event you've got planned, party, wedding, you name it, it should keep you going for at least a couple of weekends. What's really clever as well is how the temperature is controlled in here. There's no need for any mechanical ventilation to adjust the climate. It uses natural ventilation, which keeps the temperature exactly where it needs to be. So it's actually a really clever bit of technology. Now, appreciate this is not going to be for everybody, but if you are a bit of a wine connoisseur and you're quite happy to frankly build a really great big hole in your house somewhere, then this is probably worth checking out.
Right, so how many people are envious and how many people want to sell it just like that?
I was wondering what you were doing then. Yeah, a few I imagine.
I would imagine quite a few.
Yeah.
That would be on someone's wish list.
I think it would definitely be on somebody's wish list. I think clearly it goes to say not everyone is, it's reachable for a lot of people because houses either don't suit it or...
No, but that's why it's a wish list.
That is exactly what I was going to
dream
Alice,
list.
The
Dream
Alice in Wonderland. Alice. Who's it's Alice. Yeah. Anyway, what are we doing? Events.
So now I'm going to talk about the events.
And Jack was going to come on and do his bit. Yeah. Come on, Jack. Come on, get in front of the camera. Joe's Events.
He's been desperate to get in front of the camera.
All day he's been, I just want to do my bit,
I'd love to say he's been well behaved and we've allowed it, but that is not the case.
No.
So let's talk about the events. We've got another bank holiday coming up. How lucky are we again?
I think this really annoys me, to be honest, because it's like you've got 12. Well,
who is this person?
Bear with me on this. There's some logic to this, right? The thing that gets me is the fact you have 12 months and then all the bank holidays are like. And
I do get your point, but it's better to have it than not have it at all.
Well, of course that, but it'd just be nice. May's a bit greedy, isn't it?
I know. Apparently, the last bank holiday was set up in 1978.
Why do you even know that?
Because I read it and I was born in 1978.
Is this what
so I remembered.
Fair enough.
So anyway, but they have to start somewhere.
So
that's the point.
Why don't you do your own Snapchat on totally random dates.
Figures and dates?
Yeah.
We'll think about that one. Let's move on to the next bank holiday. So if we're looking for something to do, Shipston have got a great weekend lined up for you. So the Wool Fair, which actually was running right up until the mid 18th century.
She goes again.
It went into a decline.
You're like a walking encyclopedia, aren't you? It's like Wikipedia Joe.
And nobody else knows what I'm talking about.
No.
Well, you don't know if I've got it wrong
This is a benefit. This is the benefit of not having a telly. See? Don't have a telly.
You do read a lot.
All of this.
You read a lot. So yeah, it went into decline, and it was not until about 11 years ago that the festival restarted. And the idea is it's to bring people back in track with tradition. So obviously wool tradition is huge in the Shipston area and our locality as a whole, to be fair. So on the bank holiday Monday, you'll have the main area, which will be the show ring in Sheep Street. There'll be rare breed sheep shearing. There'll even be a shepherd there talking about his day-to-day life. There'll be children's activities, crafting sessions.
I wonder what that is. What does that look like?
What, a day life in a shepherd?
Yeah. Maybe we should do a segment on that.
Well, we could find out at the Wool Fair.
Maybe we could shear Jack.
We could email him. I suppose shepherds have email.
Jack attack.
Yeah, it's modern day shepherds, isn't it?
Actually, if my hair gets long enough, I'll look a bit like a sheep.
They are doing shearing.
There you go. Do you think they do a cheaper? Maybe I'll get a free haircut. Let's meet so I get a free haircut.
Could, actually. Perfect. I think you definitely could.
Yeah,
then that brings us on to this. The Stratford spinners, weavers and dyers have actually been using the wool to create a huge tapestry, but I think they've completed it, so you wouldn't be able to put your hair in it. I know.
That's it. Cut.
You could have.
Not going anymore.
That's
it. Yeah. Oh, nice one. Very good. Very good.
So, lots of events for the Wool Festival. Now, this is on the bank holiday Monday, which is the 27th. But on the 25th, as a warm-up, totally locally are running an arts and crafts market. So there'll be lots of independent craftspeople. Children will be able to get involved, so there'll be crafting sessions. There will also be activities that adults maybe can take part with some of the exhibitors as well. So things will be for sale. The whole town will be getting involved, and it's a way for Shipston to showcase not just its heritage, but also the wonderful things it has to offer on a day-to-day basis.
What a segment that was, by the way. I don't know if you remembered all of that.
It's going to be a great event.
I can barely do 2 lines. Ridiculous. Well done. Very good. Hats off to Joe. So there we go. I think that concludes episode 3. They're flying, aren't they? Can't
They absolutely are.
Crazy. Thank you again. See you next time, and remember to live, love, and invest.
And don't forget to enter the competition.
You always have to have the last words, didn't you? Yeah. But yes, in all seriousness, definitely do.
Goodbye.
Bye.